Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most trusted voice in true crime. We pick up the narrative of the phone data review on June 14th, 2018. We spoke about the emails yesterday and we said, what is going to happen next when Chris Watts gave Kessinger his phone number, and that was on June 12th, so it was 2 days ago, and 2 days ago would have been 2 years ago in 2018. Now we're on June 14th, we're on track, we're on schedule, and what happens? Well, Watts creates nearly 200 contacts in his work phone. Now, what he's doing there is essentially he's putting Kessinger into his work phone, but at the same time he's putting around about 199 other contacts in his work phone as well. Why? To disguise Kessinger. So he's not just adding Kessinger by herself onto the work phone. Do you see what I'm getting at? And according to the information in the phone data review, the contacts he added included co-workers, Shannons, and specifically Nikki Kessinger. So it looks like she's referred to by name, and he adds two phone numbers for her, not just one, a work number and then a mobile number, and they're different. So one wonders what happened on June the 13th. Did that day go by and the two didn't see one another? Or did they contact one another in some other way? Did they maybe bump into each other at the office? Or did they contact each other using some other format? It's possible also that they didn't see one another at all. So June 13th went by, and you kind of had a tension building up. I'm speculating, we have no idea what really happened, but it's possible June 13 went by and they didn't get round to each other. Maybe Kessinger didn't get round to calling Watts, and then a sort of a tension built up, and Watts felt, wow, I really hoped I was going to hear from her. And maybe Kessinger felt, I really shouldn't contact him, and then didn't, and then felt really like a strong feeling of affiliation and of attraction and conflict, maybe even. And then June 14th, even if whether they contacted one another or not, they would have seen one another again at work on June the 14th. And then maybe that was when the sort of the last vestiges of resistance to the idea of an affair, maybe that then fell away. What we do know for a fact is something changed on Watts's phone, where he didn't just simply add one number for Nicole Kessinger and that was it. He kind of changed the entire format of his work phone, and what that seems to suggest is he was making ready kind of on his handset to transfer the how can I put it, the life, the how can I put it, to transfer the social intercourse is probably the best way of putting it. In other words, all those transactions, all those interactions, all those social connections, all of them, from his normal phone to his work phone. In other words, from his private personal phone to his work phone. And why is he doing that? It's to camouflage one person on his work phone. It's so that this one person on his work phone doesn't stick out. Do you get what I'm saying? But what that's also suggesting is this idea of already this mindset of starting another life, starting another phone, is not starting another phone, but just transferring all this onto another phone is already disinvesting out of his private life, out of his personal, out of that side of his his life, I guess. Now, bear in mind the phone, the home phone's probably got pictures of his children on and pictures of Shannon and things like that. And I don't know if you remember, Shannon said something like she remembered seeing on his phone the background image was of sand dunes or something, or of desert flowers instead of her. She made that comment later on. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. What's I think also worth remembering is the same mass transfer of numbers on the 14th kind of happened again on July 31st, the day that Watts flew to North Carolina. So the day that he was joining Shannon and his family, the day that he was going to be with them again, he did a mass transfer of assorted images of Kissinger, and especially their trip to the Great Sand Dunes, into his secret calculator application. So what that is telling you is when there was a shift in his circumstances or the scenario he was in, in other words, shifting from affair time to family time, then he needed to hide things away in his phone. He needed to make things look right on his phone, because Shannon just sort of had access to his phone as a matter of course. I don't really get the feeling Watts took much of an interest in her phone, but I think she had kind of access to his phone. Okay, I can't seem to find the source. I don't know if one of you guys can help me out, where I think Shannon mentioned something to a friend, or the friend says that Shannon said to her, when she was worried about Chris Watts' behavior, she said, he's even changed his, wallpaper on his phone, or the screensaver on his phone, or whatever you want to call it, the background image on his phone. I think it was to mountains. Something like it was something very nondescript. It could also have been flowers or something. I don't know if you remember that. Anyway, I can't seem to find it, but anyway, in that whole vein, something that Nicole Atkinson said during her interview with Greg Zentner on the 14th of August is she said one thing that was weird on the last weekend that she spent with Shannon, that the last day or two of Shannon's life, she said Watts and Shannon always sent one another photos, like there was this constant sending of pictures of the children between the both of them, and Atkinson said that didn't happen over that weekend. It just sort of stopped, and Shannon had to ask him to send her pictures, and he kind of did, but it just wasn't the same. I mean, that was a sign that something was also off. And if you think about the number of photos that Watts sent of the birthday party and of Sunday, and I guess even of Saturday, it's something like 2 or 3 photos. That seems like quite a little. When Shannon asked quite a few times, she said, "I miss the girls, send me photos of them." I think she asked 2 or 3 times for him to send photos. She wanted to see them in bed at the end of the weekend on Sunday night. I think she wanted the babysitter to send her pictures as well. I think she wanted to see pictures of Bella's hair or something like that. But prior to the birthday party, which he did send, the point is just that there was this constant traffic of family photos between Watts and his wife, and then that kind of didn't happen on the very last weekend. I also previously mentioned, I can't quite remember where, but I mentioned that Shannon said to Watts, will you come with me to take Bella to school? That happened kind of on 2 different days. It happened, I think, on the on the 9th at 15:07, but then on Sunday, the Sunday that she died, or just after that, the last Sunday of her life, Shannon also asked him, would you pack the girls' sort of backpacks for school? So that was something that I kind of get the impression she was asking him to do that, to test how flexible he was and how willing he was to be a dad and to be still part of the family. Like if he said no, that would be a sign that he wasn't happy. But the fact that he would do it was a sign that things were kind of okay, if that makes sense. So I thought I would just add a few other aspects to what we know, but in terms of the phone data review, there's basically just that transfer of numbers on the 14th. The next day that we're going to look at is June 17th. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.